Your Honor, I'm showing states 5, and the record can reflect. I'm pointing to what appears to be an AC unit on the right side of the house, just in front of, which could be located in front of the blue pickup truck in a clearing through the trees. Does that work?
Yes, that's correct.
All right, so noted, thank you.
So when you came out the Bilko doors, what did you do when you came out the Bilko doors?
I walked down the driveway and we went across the street. The first thing I noticed when we got near the car was I was able to see through the windshield Tyler De Silva.
Let me pause you there. So I'm going to show you states 49. Do you know where this car was parked when you came down the driveway?
Yeah, so it was on the lower right-hand side across the street. Yep, right there where you're pointing, in front of those trees.
The record could reflect, I'm pointing to the lower right-hand corner where there are some trees on, looks like the Laurel Glen, on the right side near the curb of Laurel Glen.
Is that
Correct.
All right, court also noted on the record, thank you.
So when you noticed the car parked in that area, what, if anything, did you do?
Like I said, as I approached the car, I saw Tyler De Silva through the windshield, and I know who he is, given that his cousins used to live down the street from me. So I immediately went to the passenger side of the car to his window to talk to him and tell him that I don't know why you guys are here. You are not welcome at my house and you need to leave.
When the car arrived, are you familiar with that type of group chat that may have been going on?
I was not. I came to find out later that there was a group chat, but at the time of the event, I was not familiar with it.
Did you have any knowledge that Tyler De Silva was coming to your house that night?
No, I did not.
At that point, no. All right, so you go up, when you approach the car, what side of the car do you approach it?
I believe I went in front of the car and I went to the passenger front window.
So if you're approaching, if the car is parked on the side of the road here in States 49, is it facing Farmhouse Road or is it facing Adams?
It is facing Farmhouse up the street.
So you go to the passenger side?
Right.
And where is Tyler De Silva sitting?
He is in the front passenger seat.
And you have a conversation with him?
Yes.
And what do you tell him?
I tell him that I'm not sure why you guys are here, but you cannot stay here and you need to leave.
And did the car leave at that point?
No, it did not.
At that point in time, did you notice anybody else in the car?
At that point in time, I was able to hear people start to argue on the other side of the car. So I kind of looked through from the passenger window to like the back driver's side of the car, and I was able to see Mackenzie Traficante and Raul Valle in the back seat.
Now, are you familiar with Mackenzie Traficante?
I am.
How are you familiar with her?
We grew up together. We were friends when we were younger before high school.
Did you go to school together?
We did.
Did you go to high school together?
No, we did not.
Do you know what school she went to?
She went to St. Joe's.
And you mentioned Raul Valle. Is Mr. Valle present in the courtroom today?
He is.
And what is he wearing?
A blue suit.
Can you point him out for the ladies and gentlemen of the jury? Your Honor, may the record reflect the witnesses identified the defendant in this case?
All right, court will let the record reflect that, thank you.
And when you noticed Mackenzie and the defendant, did you notice anybody else in the car at that moment?
I noticed that there was other kids in the car, just not sure exactly who they were.
Okay. But there were more kids in the car?
Yeah, probably 2 or 3.
All right. And when you're talking to Tyler De Silva and you're telling him to leave, tell me about the arguing that goes on the other side of the car. Withdrawn. When you noticed Mackenzie and the defendant in the car, where were they seated?
I believe she was in basically the middle of the back seat, and he was to the driver's side window of the back seat. from what I recall.
So he's seated behind the driver?
I believe so.
Okay, and you indicated there was some arguing going on. Do you know who was doing the arguing?
No, I do not.
When you heard that there was arguing going on the other side of the car, what, if anything, did you do next?
I walked around the front of the car again to see what was going on over there. And at that time, as I came around the front of the car, I saw something like get swung out the window. I wasn't exactly sure what it was at that point, and then I heard glass shatter, so I knew it was a glass bottle.
Do you recall what side of the car that came out of?
That came out of the driver back window.
And when that happened, what, if anything, happened next?
After that happened, some of my friends started yelling things and rocking the car.
How many of your friends were near the car at this moment in time?
Probably a good 15 to 20 of us.
When this interaction is going on, is it what's the lighting like out?
It was dark, but there's lights on the house and the house across the street, so I was able to see everything in front of me, no problem.
When you and your friends approached the vehicle, did you have any weapons on you?
No, I did not.
When your friends started screaming and shaking and kicking the car, tell us what happens next.
So at that point, I knew it was getting very chippy, and I was trying to prevent anything else from going on. So I kind of got in Jack Schneider's window, who was driving the car, and I was telling him, you need to leave, you need to drive out of here right now, and he wasn't listening to me. So I kind of proceeded to reach in the car towards the shifter and telling him, put your car in drive and leave now.
And what happened when you did that?
He just started rolling his window up on me, so I kind of had to pull my arms and stuff back out. And then finally, we heard the car click into gear, and they drove up the street, going very fast. And as they were going up the street, we noticed that they were throwing cans and anything it seemed like they could find in the car out the window. And they were actually throwing it at other cars that were parked on the street. So they went up the street doing that, and we kind of took a step back, and I was able to take a breath and relax, thinking that they had left.
Show you stage one. When you say that they drove up the street, can you show the ladies and gentlemen of the jury where, you can use this, which way they drove? Now, do you recognize stage one?
I do.
Okay, and this house here with the red dot on it, do you know whose house?
Yes, that's my house.
Okay, can you tell the ladies and gentlemen of the jury which way they drove up the street?
So they went from here up the street this way, and as they went up the street, there was some cars parked here and here maybe. Things are getting thrown at the cars there, and then they continued up the street.
And when they continued up the street, what, if anything, were you thinking at that moment as to, with regards to where the car was going?
My first thought at that moment was, okay, good, these kids left.
And did they leave?
They did not. Maybe a minute later, we saw the headlights coming back in the other direction, and all the stuff that they had thrown out of the car was being picked up by my friends. And as they came back down the street, some of my friends whose cars got hit and stuff started to throw things back.
What kind of things were thrown from the car at you guys? The other car?
I know some cans, like
cans?
beer cans, and I think that was really it the first time they went up the street.
And when they came back down the street, that's when your friends picked up the cans that were thrown at you?
Correct.
And threw them back?
Correct.
Okay, and then what happened once they came back towards your house?
So they went up, they came back the second time.
Same way?
No, the first time they went up the street, they went that way. They came back the second time. Some of my friends started throwing things back. Then I believe they actually made the corner onto Adams, and they went up Adams, and then there was a third time they came back by again.
And what happened when they came back a third time?
They were still throwing stuff out of the car. It kind of seemed like they were like going through the trunk of the car to find whatever they could to throw. And there was a can of WD-40 and a few other things thrown out of the car that time.
And when those things were thrown out of the car, what, if anything, did you do next?
I actually picked up the can of WD-40 and noticed that as the car went down the street, it kind of stopped right here on the corner of Laurel Glen and Farmhouse Lane.
And when you picked up the can of WD-40 and noticed the car stopped down the street near the corner of Farmhouse Lane and Laurel Glen, what did you do?
Me, Ricky, and I believe somebody else ran down the street. And as I ran down the street, I yelled, "Let's go, you pussies," and threw the can at the back of the car, and then proceeded to tell them, get back in their car and please to leave my house.
Did you notice anybody outside the car when you went down the street?
I did notice a couple kids outside the car, but I wasn't really paying attention exactly who it was.
When you went down the street, how many of your friends would you say went with you? You said you, Ricky, and another individual?
I believe that was it.
Okay. And when you went down the street, did you have any conversation with any of those kids that got out of the car?
Besides for just kind of yelling to get back in their car and get out of here, no.
When you went down the street and you were screaming down the street, did you engage in any physical altercation with anybody from the car down the street?
No, we did not.
When you went down the street, aside from throwing the WD-40 can back at the car, did you have any weapons on you at that point?
No,
Do you know if Ricky Fiola had any weapons on him?
he did not.
After you threw the WD-40 can at the car, what, if anything, did you do next?
I started to walk back to the house because people were still outside, and I was trying to get everyone to go back inside the house. And as I was walking,
Let me stop you there, play in 30 seconds. So, at some point in time,
You tell them to get out, and you start walking back to the house.
correct.
Okay.